TESOL training program here at CSUF, and yet another student from Jan Eyring's wonderful new course, 540, teaching adult ESL. And it's out of my work for that class that this talk emerged, like so many others of us that have spoken today. And I'm intrigued that I'm going after another consciousness-raising talk, which I think really this whole conference has been about that. But what I'd like us to do, first of all, is those of you who have not already looked in the program, are there any guesses what the D word is? You know, we're always the F word, the L word, the blank word, and you put a letter of the alphabet in there, and we can teach what does that mean and what does it imply. But if we don't have any answers, that's good. So it gives us a chance to do a little bit of morphology here in the conference. So the word able, what does that mean and imply? It's pretty straightforward. We hope we are all able to produce good work, to understand, to speak and write intelligibly, meet the demands of our daily lives. And the word ability, that's of course the noun form of to be able. How about disability though? What does disability mean when we're thinking about being in a classroom, accessing education? Well, I have been around one form of education or another for 40 some years. And so I can tell you that things used to be very different. It used to be that a student with a medical condition was sometimes viewed as a problem in the classroom, and not always a behavior problem or an attitude problem, sometimes just the very fact of their condition made for some challenges. Now, tonight you heard Dr. Carr say we need 30 seconds, and that was to help me get ready to speak to you. And that's an accommodation. And accommodation for medical conditions, medical challenges. Accommodation is a key word, as we will see. And it's a key concept that really we've seen more accommodations in recent years. Now, my work for Dr. Eyring in TESOL 540, I took it up for really two reasons, but the main one, other than just lifelong interest, was that this year the office which supports us who have medical conditions which need accommodating on this campus changed its name a little bit. They did some morphology as well. Now, they used to be, until this academic year, known as the Office of Disabled Student Services. And they did a wonderful job at helping us with needed accommodations. But again, I ask you, what is a disabled student, and what does that mean? As we think about how things have improved, what has improved is all kinds of access options. And one of them, I'll just hold up here, is helping me keep track of my own time as I speak, which I could never do before. Handheld mobile device that, instead of expensive programs, now has little inexpensive and affordable user-friendly apps. And it's things like this that have made a big difference to us. Now, I'm not a legal expert, and this is not the only law which supports us in the classroom. Those of you with legal training or with just an interest in how the law and our society interface, particularly with regard to education, will recognize that back, at least as far as 1937, and then through the 60s with civil rights legislation and onward, there's been a steady improvement in the way our society legally helps those of us who need some accommodations to participate fully. The Americans with Disabilities Act of 1990, this is a key law that's fairly recent. It's now just over a quarter century old. And its concern is with access, not just to the classroom, but to the workplace, to transportation, in short, to our entire public lives here in the United States. Well, how about disabled ESL students? What can we do? What can't we do? Well, when I proposed this paper to Dr. Eyring, I had hoped that I would get a laundry list of things that we can and cannot do, and that I would be able to share with you lots of specific techniques aimed at accommodating different medical conditions. But as I thought about why some of the recommendations that I was reading in my research didn't track well for me, I realized that the key issue here is that disabled ESL students can do everything that non-disabled ESL students can do, just in different ways. What is common to both groups, however, is that the process of learning a new language, especially after puberty, is a huge challenge. And indeed, as we'll see presently, there might be an argument to be made that not speaking good English might be a form of disability in and of itself. Some personal experiences of mine, being given a good grade in a course, but being told, and this was long ago and not here, long ago and out of state, but being told, you know, you did real well in the first half of the course, but in the second half of the course you can't see very well, and we think you're going to drop some expensive equipment and break it, so you're excused. You know, you don't have to do the second half of the course. We'll just give you the grade. More recently, there's that word again, accommodations, requiring me to do the same work as everybody else to the same high standards, but allowing for some help to overcome, in my case, a low vision condition. And then, of course, here at CSUF, I have experienced inclusion in everything that I wanted to be a part of. So, on this slide, we contrast adult and child ELLs, and this work by Finn from just 4 years ago is it spoke to me, because as an adult, I was self-motivated and self-directed enough to seek out an ESL training program, because I want very much to teach language, because I think it's important. So I knew exactly coming in what I wanted, and every time someone says, Ben, we'd like to teach you this, that, or the other thing, I always need, at least in my own mind, to figure out why. Why is that important? So we have some differences from child learners. Neither group is disabled, just by dint of their age, I don't think. So if the concept of disability still makes sense to you, and you think we should still have room for the term somewhere, I actually agree with you that in the case of getting funding, in the case of continuing to have an office of disability support or disabled students services, it's good that we have that category floating around in the backs of our minds. But what I want to say here is, think about the idea of there being only one right way to learn. If you don't learn in that exact way, and you don't have those particular abilities, then you don't get access. I hope that doesn't seem fair to any of us anymore. And in case it still seems fair to some people that you might know, and you're wondering what's a good thing that I can quote to them along the lines of everybody deserves to be included and can be included. Back in 1983, this man said, there are so many different ways of doing well that to focus only on what intelligence tests have traditionally labeled as good, likely to succeed in school, too narrow-minded. So, what attitude changes am I suggesting? The bottom line is, I want you to focus inside, not outside, on what we can do rather than what we cannot, because indeed, everybody has things that they cannot do, but we are very good at figuring out other ways to accomplish the same things. And particularly if English is not your first language, you're really used to constantly negotiating how to access everything in your life in the United States in a way different than a lot of other Americans. This is just a third or so of the sources that I used in my paper. I think this is the most important third for convincing us all that hey, hey, ho, ho, that bad old D word has just got to go. Thank you, everybody.